is Anthony from MakeWeirdMusic.com, and I am here with Andy and Steven from Psychophone Records, and our special guest artist, Ostrich Von Nipple. Andy and Steven, thank you so much for getting this set up, and Ostrich, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Anthony. I must say this is a pleasure for me to appear here. God damn it, this interview is over!
That's great.
I'm sorry.
So, Ostrich, where does your name come from? What does it mean?
Well, it comes from perhaps about 2 decades ago, sir. There was a time when I was playing with my friends, and we later became known as the Goons of Waxing Gibbous. And we had a performance one particular day. It was a dark day. The sea, she was angry that day. But we carried on and decided, if we're going to entertain these fine gentlemen in our carefully picked garb, then perhaps we should present them with our names as well. We chose our names, and mine seemed to roll right off the tongue. For the nipple is the pathway for life-giving milk, sustenance. And what does an ostrich do, according to myth? It buries its head in the sand. And you see, sir, this interview is over!
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No worries, it happens all the time. So what music has been an influence for you?
Well, I'd say there is a wide variety of music that influences me musically. A bit more specifically, I'll say that I do love soundtrack music, particularly cartoon music. But really, any sorts of films and whatnot. I also am heavily influenced by classical Indian music and the Hindustani raga, and happens to be a passion of mine. And I feel very uncomfortable discussing it with the three of you staring at me like I'm some kind of... I'm just kidding. This interview's over.
All right. Sorry, I had to just turn off my air conditioner. It was making a lot of noise.
Well,
Didn't mean to give you the impression this interview was over.
oh, I'm very sorry.
No problem.
I seem to have a temperament.
It's
Not like a temperature like you would need a thermometer to read, but a temperament.
like breath mint.
That's ridiculous.
I've noticed you follow a certain grammar with all of your album titles. Ostrich Von Nipple contemplates the cosmos, quantifies absurdity. Can you tell me if there's intention behind that? Meaning, what leads to these particular grammars.
Well, yes, that is true. Each one of these records is typically named in a present tense form. A verb. Well, it's just fucking grammar. And this is a very conscious effort, as I do like the feeling, the idea that this is happening currently. That what you're listening to and experiencing is happening currently, never in the past, never in the future, but always now. And I would hope that a listener would join me on this active journey each and every time. And I'd just like to say that I thank the Academy for presenting me with this fucking honor. And it's been a pleasure there, as I sit and speak to you, that I need a moment. I'm sorry about that.
So your music gives you a sort of omnipresence because you're always performing it live in the moment for the listener.
Yes, I would say that's a fair assessment, absolutely. Because I've spent plenty of time
Listening to tons of music that made me feel somewhat alienated. It is my hope that this would be the exact opposite.
Is there someone with you?
Yes, you and Steven and Andres are with me.
All right. Can you tell us about
Do you receive?
I'm sorry?
Do you receive me?
Oh, yeah. I receive you.
Fantastic. Okay, great.
Can you tell us about your absurdity project? Seems like you've been releasing several titles under qualifies absurdity, quantifies absurdity, more fun grammar stuff. But what's the concept behind these absurdity projects?
Well, I would have to say that the Absurdity Project really came about towards the end of an album I was working prior to its release, as well as an EP entitled Ostrich Von Nipple Plays Some Shitty Tunes. Now, I found myself in a situation where I seemed to be creating music from all of these other areas that I typically don't explore, or explore perhaps for a different amount of time, therefore experiencing for a different amount of time. I kept working all these ideas, and I'm shaking my head as I answer because I look so serious. And as I continued working on this music, I realized that it was all quite absurd. Absurd in some fashion, in some form. But again, as I shake my head in earnest, I must tell you that these concepts all had a common thread and somehow seemed to work together. And if I've made you feel that this answer is somewhat rehearsed in any way, I assure you it is only because I am such a poor actor. This interview is over! was embarrassing. I'm so sorry, guys. Can we reset back to the one? Okay. Next question.
The next question is for Andy. Is that cool?
Okay, yes, sure, Anthony.
Andy, how did you discover Ostrich Von Nipple?
It was around 2012 when I first heard Ostrich on YouTube, and I was amazed by his outstanding music. It catched me directly, so I took my chance and asked him if he would like to work with me. Psychophone Records didn't exist yet, and because of Ostrich Von Nipple, I decided to create a new record label. Ostrich has a direct connection to Psychophone, and without Ostrich, the label would maybe not exist. That is to say.
What's your favorite Ostrich Von Nipple album? And why?
Okay, I don't really have a favorite release. I simply love all of his music. And it's art, just for the art. That's the most important thing for me. And that's also why I support his ideas and all his various projects. I will produce whatever he submits and all his various, because I know it will be great, everything what he did. And but if I had to pick one, I would say Ostrich Von Nipple quantifies absurdity. When it was released, it was the heaviest project he had done, and it's a perfect example of the raw energy of the extraordinary Ostrich Von Nipple sound. Indeed, unearthly.
He didn't pay you to say that, right?
Yes, sure. Natural. What could I say?
What is your role in the creation of his music?
It's a good question. I handle all the label-related work. Everything that happens after receiving the music and artwork from the artists. From creation of the records, the CDs, and of course, I create all the collector's variations. All the way down to packaging and shipping stuff and things like that. I always wanted to have my own label, and now we are celebrating next year our 5th birthday. Man, time flies, really. Psychophone has a specific mission, and that is to produce music from the other, from artists from another dimensions. Almost like we are growing a special garden for people with a unique taste for music and art overall. Ostrich fits that bill perfectly. In a world of artistic conformity and a general dumbing down of the mind, I feel that it takes something like Psychophone Records as a gateway for unknown and unseen art. As you may have noticed, not so many people support independent art. I'm deeply rooted with these indie art movement from the 70s, 80s, and I see it as an obligation to support the important task that the remains of the counterculture continues.
Thank you for doing that. I think it's important. I really appreciate you putting that effort into bringing good stuff into the world.
Thank you very much, Anthony, for the kind words.
How do you choose which artists you're going to represent on your label?
Oh, it's yes, that really depends on my personal taste. So I only sign artists that I really, really love. If I hear something and I really like it, we will move forward. And what is also important is that the artist fits our concept of music from the ether.
That's awesome. So I have a couple of CDs here. One from DDAA, which is nice. Got a nice big digipack, and then another nice big digipack for Ostrich Von Nipple Quantifies Absurdity. A nice trifold package. And then we've got the this plastic package for...
Well, they say that silence is golden. So there must
this one with the what are they, lenticular printed cover.
Yeah, it's a lenticular card. So it's I grow up in my youth with all this that shit, and so it's I have a special. I love these lenticular cards, and so I think when I did a label one day, then I have to create some very special things like lenticular cards, and so I'm always on the looking for some special stuff we can do for covers and all that shit. So I like it very much to create it. That's for me the most important part in my role, and so it's wonderful to put my life inside these little creations.
That's awesome. I forgot to ask you, what do you do at Psychophone? You're the owner. You started the label, right?
Yeah, I'm the owner from Psychophone Records. That's correct. Yeah, I run Psychophone.
And what does that look like? What does the owner of Psychophone do?
Yeah. Okay. So I occupied myself since my youth with collecting electronic music, underground, plunderphonics, music concrete, broken music, record art objects, and all this avant-garde stuff. And I'm a proud collector of releases with interesting packages. So my collection that I gathered over the years is very unique and reflects the history of this music. I really love music that is released in an abnormal way. I have albums that use small toy cars with needle and speakers attached that drive over the record, so-called vinyl killers. And for example, little finger phones, the smallest and most simple record player in the world. I also collect the most beautiful picture discs and so forth. all these things were always fascinating for me, still to this day. And I have collected an immense wealth of packaging ideas over the last 40 years, and that helps me with new projects. My process usually starts with a kind of meditation, focusing on the project as a whole, the music and artwork and the whole concept. I create and build everything by myself and with my bare hands. For that, you need a lot of experience, and I'm a craftsman originally by trade, and I know a lot about different materials and techniques for metalworking, industrial productions, etc. This comes in handy when trying to come up with unique ideas for packaging. One of the strangest release I put together was for Ostrich Von Nipple's debut on Psychophone. Ostrich Von Nipple plays some shitty tunes. Our promotion package came with a handmade graffiti, press information, and the album was contained inside a frisbee. So you can actually throw Ostrich to a friend and they can catch it and listen to the music.
Ostrich, what are your thoughts on Andy and Psychophone Records?
Well, I think being handy today in the records business is important, Anthony. Thank you for asking. I think in this particular business, you have to worry about construction of certain elements because music is sort of like building a house. You must start with the foundation. And then you start to build up around it and create a structure. Eventually, you can put the paneling on for the walls, complete the exterior, and you have something substantial. And then it's always time to go inside and do the decorating and the final touches. Yes, I thank you for asking.
Stephen,
Yes.
why are you here? What do you do?
I'm I'm the website administrator and designer for Psychophone Records, and I also write most of the English text for the site, and pretty much anything that goes on the internet relating to Psychophone Records is my doing. Most of my tasks involve updating the site, getting projects ready for release, calculating costs in the ever-changing shipping system, which is a nightmare. But because we handle basically shipping all across the world, and we have customers across the world. But the fun comes when I get to write press release info for one of my favorite artists in the world, Ostrich.
How'd you get associated with Psychophone?
Well, it started. I did some work for Ostrich Von Nipple, maybe 2014, just as a volunteer. I designed some graphics for him, and just for fun, and he liked my work. And this is kind of how I got in contact with Psychophone in general, through working with and getting closer to Ostrich. At the point when I was contacting him, I was really in love with his music and just like a total fanboy, and I was really also starting to realize the unique stuff that Psychophone put out, and Ostrich told me that I should approach Andy and see if he would let me build his website as well, and so I just pitched some ideas to him about an automated web shop, and he was reluctant at first, but then after I showed him some examples of my work and visited the Psychophone headquarters in Bremerhaven, we put together a plan to create this site, and I think it was a big success. From that point forward, my range of responsibilities grew, and I found myself approaching media companies for promotion, distribution, other various things. I don't know. Now I have the privilege of direct contact with the artists on the label, which is for me completely crazy. That's the best payment anyone could ever receive for doing this kind of stuff, at least for me.
Well, are there any difficulties in dealing with secretive artists like OVN over here enjoying a beverage?
Not at all. In fact, it's really fun. I think you can see that. It keeps things interesting, keeps you on your toes. In my line of work, there's a lot of dry, boring writing and editing and emailing to do, and search engine optimization and social media crap. And what is great is I can have one-on-one time with these guys and learn a bit more about their craft and just learn what they do while I work. Really, their identities are not important. At what point does the face matter? I mean, what you're looking at right now is Ostrich Von Nipple. There is no other person under that mask. I think if you take off that mask, it's just a black void that goes on to infinity. if you want to know who he is, you just look no further than his music. I mean, listen to the words and get the emotional intent from the compositions. I'm really, really into the music. And with Ostrich, his music is about as intimate as you can get with anybody. His music is a great example of that. He obscures his identity, but at the same time he bears his soul to the world with his albums.
Ostrich, what were you doing before Psychophone Records picked you up?
Well, back before Psychophone Records, I did have one other CD that was released worldwide called Ostrich Von Nipple Contemplates the Cosmos. And that particular record was released on WM Recordings at the time, which I don't believe is even around anymore. I think they may be WM Digital. Lots of consonants there. Anyhow, so I had finished that record, a record I'd released. Quite honestly, Anthony, I was on top of the world. Here I was, a young fucking bird brain, with ne'er a nipple to spare. Top-selling record on the charts. I won't. You can look up the charts. But it's important that I tell you that I took that chance and went with Psychophone Records. Because it's not about me, Anthony.
No, it's not.
This interview is over!
All right, Steven. What's your favorite OVN release? What do you recommend to people?
Well, just like Andy, I'm a big fan of his work as a whole. But really, it's the concept behind his music is that every album represents just one piece of a puzzle. And he's told me this 100 times. And the puzzle slowly comes together with every release, and they all fit together somehow. I find that concept really genius. That's why I'm so into his music. But one of his most impressive works, though, in my opinion, would have to be the picture disc that came out not too long ago. It contains two 15-minute approximately musical pieces titled Swarm Suite and So Do They. And they are incredible collages of pretty much all of his previous work, intertwined with new material and art by this Nevada artist Puxod, who's just incredible. I don't think a lot of people realize how hard it is to make a 15-minute piece of continuous progressive music, let alone two, in the short amount of time that he put it together. And this has always stuck out to me as one of his most mature works or impressive accomplishments. It really showcases the various sounds and moods of Ostrich Von Nipple.
I concur.
All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. How can people pick up some of OVN's records?
Well, you can easily go to psychophonerecords.com, and we have a fully working web shop over there that has everything you would be possibly interested in buying. I strongly suggest buying everything. Just grab it all indiscriminately. Don't look at the price. Don't look at the shipping. Don't even look at the pictures or the words. Just click the add to cart button and go for it, you know.
Andy, thank you so much. Ostrich, this interview is actually over, so thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
It's great meeting you guys.
Thank you very much.
This interview is over!